Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Joy. I'm a nurse practitioner living here in Houston. I make content about nursing, living here in Houston, and how to achieve your goals. If that sounds like something you're interested in, go ahead and push that subscribe button and let's get into the content. So today's video is going to talk about how to achieve your goals. If one of your goals is to travel more, then this channel is for you. If you watched my introduction video, I talked about how travel is so important to me. I'm going to be covering travel content on this channel. I'm going to be talking about how to travel as a woman, how to travel with your children, how to solo travel. So push the subscribe button so you can get notifications about more videos like this. Today's video is going to be about traveling to Egypt. I recently traveled to Egypt, and so in this video I'm going to break down the hotels I stayed at, the activities I did, the flights that I took. So get your pen and piece of paper, be ready to write everything down. There's going to be a lot of videos and a lot of pictures included, and a lot of tips for you guys. I'm excited to share this with you. Traveling to Africa has always been a goal of mine. I've always wanted to travel to Africa, and there's several different countries that I want to visit, but Egypt was first on the list. And this trip was planned because it was the gift to myself for passing boards. If you are new here, then you don't know, but I recently passed boards and became a neonatal nurse practitioner. And so I wanted to give myself something, and I wanted to give my daughter something. She's watched me through this whole process from the beginning of becoming a nurse. And so this was the best thing for us to experience this together, travel to Egypt, and find out in Egypt if I passed boards. And that was something that I wanted to do. A lot of people was trying to talk me out of it, saying like, what if you don't pass boards? Then you're gonna find out in Africa, like it's gonna ruin your trip. And I just always thought, like, what if I do pass boards? What if I do? I've worked for years and years and years to pass boards and become a nurse practitioner, and now I'm here, and what if I find out in Africa? Like, that's amazing. And that's exactly what happened. So if you're in nurse practitioner school and you watch me for that content, please schedule yourself a treat for once you pass boards, because you deserve it. Like, all the sacrifice, all the time we spent, you deserve something. If it's not traveling, it may be something else, but make sure that you reward yourself and reward the people, your family, who's been going through this journey with you. As a Black neonatal nurse practitioner, I literally became part of the 4%. There's less than 4% of us in this profession, and there's even less as a neonatal nurse practitioner. So I felt like this was something I needed to do, and I needed to do it for her, and I needed to do it for myself. Guys, Egypt is the land of one of the 7 wonders of the world. Like, it's amazing. You need to go to this trip. Don't let anybody talk you out of it. But most importantly, you need to go safely, and you need to make sure that you research as much as possible before you plan out your trip. Especially as a female traveler, you want to make sure that this is something that is going to be safe for you and that you're going to be able to enjoy. So one of my big questions to myself when I was researching this trip is Egypt safe for me? Is Egypt safe for my daughter? And the answer is yes it is. I'm talking about how I did this trip is going to be different for everybody, but I will tell you that the way I plan my trips, safety first. So if you're an Airbnb girl, I don't like a tour guide type of girl, then this video is not going to be helpful to you, because the theme of my trip was literally Black girl luxury.
I'm just afraid of wasting life. Like, life is so precious, and it's like I want to maximize life.
Everything that I did was safe and everything was planned out. There was no Airbnbs. I'm a different type of traveler, and I just want to go ahead and make that disclaimer up front. There will be no Airbnbs in this video. So when I first started to plan this trip, I let my friends know that I was planning this trip, and my friend has a 16-year-old daughter, and my daughter was 16, so it was perfect. She agreed to go. So for this trip, it was 4 women. It was me, my friend, her daughter, and my daughter. In the beginning, when I started my research for the 4 of us, I started looking at influencers. I started to look at TikTok. I started to look at YouTube. I also looked at reviews on the internet, just looked at different things just to make sure what I was picking was what I wanted to do. And TikTok was very helpful because you get to see real people staying in these hotels and experiencing the thing that you want to experience. So it was very helpful to me when planning my trip. The first person that I reached out was Jade. Her name is Jade the Traveler on Instagram, and I'll link her down below. She was very helpful to me and encouraging. I reached out to her, I DM'd her, and I asked her, because she had just got back from Egypt and she was just going on and on about how Egypt was great. And so I asked her, like, is Egypt safe for me and my daughter? And of course she said yes, and then she offered to help me, which was great. And I think she only charged us like $20 per person to help us plan everything, which was really good, cheap, nice, whatever. And it worked out that way. So she helped me like plan the flights, and then I just talked to her about like the hotels I wanted to stay at and the activities I wanted to do. So if you guys need help, you can always reach out to her. It'll be linked down below. We went to 3 different locations in this trip. So we started off in Cairo, and then we went to Luxor, and then we went to Hurghada. One of the big things is our trip was only 7 days. Guys, you need way more than 7 days. Like 7 days is not enough. There was so many other places I wanted to go, things I wanted to see, and I just didn't have the time. We were very tired, and our itinerary was jam-packed with activities and things to do. If you're planning on going to Egypt, try to have more than 7 days, but definitely don't do less than 7 days. The websites that I used to book my trip and my activities was Expedia.com and Viator. Those are the 2 websites that were the most helpful. Those are 2 websites that I found everything that I wanted to do. So as I'm going through the video and I'm talking about all the things I did and the places I stay, I will link each place and each activity down below. You can click on those links and book directly from those links. So thank me now. In order to book my flights, I used Google Flights, and again, Jay helped me with the booking of flights because it was a lot to book for 4 people. We had several flights, not only just the flight to Africa and back, we also had the flights in between with a bunch of connecting flights. So it was a lot for me to do for 4 people. I was very thankful that I had her who helped me book those flights, but we used Google Flights. Something I do wish I would have did was the cities that I could have just had a private driver drive us to. I wish I would have did that instead of flying, because those flights, I mean, obviously nobody likes to be in the airport in America. Like, the airport is just not a comfortable place to be. So imagine being in the airport in Egypt. Like, I just didn't want to do it, and we were stuck at the airport several times, like if our flight got delayed, and because we were taking more flights than normal, like we had more chances of our flights being delayed, and that's exactly what happened. It just would have been a way nicer experience if we would have had a driver, could have just sat back in the seat and relaxed, fell asleep, do whatever, and then you look up and then you're there. It's the same amount of time. Like, there was security after security after security check in the airport, which took up more time on top of your flights being delayed, so that just took up a lot of your day. So I would suggest to you, if you have a private driver drive you to these locations, I would do that instead of flying. Okay, so getting into Egypt day 1, we took our flight from St. Louis to Chicago, and then eventually got to Cairo. Once we got to Cairo, I had set up for us to have a meet and greet at the airport, and I booked that on Viator. The link is down below, but this is something that I would suggest you get, because who wants to arrive in Cairo in chaos and confusion? Like, I didn't want to do that. This was so nice. The man, he was waiting for us. He had my name on the sign. You know, he took us right over to the table. We gave him the $20 for our visa. You need a visa to go into Egypt. A lot of people, in doing my research, were saying that they were buying it online. You do not have to buy your visa online. Like, you do not have to do it. You can buy it upon arrival. So when you get there, you have to pay in cash. Make sure that you have the exact amount. I think it was $20 to $25, but make sure you have the exact amount. They might not have change for you. We gave him our $20 for our visa. He took the money up to the counter. He bought our visas, and then we walked straight through. And when I tell you, the line is long, like everybody's getting off the plane, and we were able to walk past everybody, and he had our passports, he had the visas, they stamped our passports, and we were through security. He took us straight to get our baggage, and after that, he took us straight to our transportation for our hotel. Very simple, very easy, no confusion, no chaos, the way I like it. Once we got our transportation, they took us to our first hotel, which was the Marriott Mena house in Cairo, and it was beautiful. It was everything that you see on TikTok and more. The staff was very nice, the grounds were very clean and beautiful, and the pyramids, the best part, they're literally right there, so you can see them as soon as you pull up to the hotel, and you can see them from your balcony. If you have that type of room, you literally can walk out on your balcony and the pyramids are right there. This hotel had about 3 restaurants restaurants, several pools, anything that you would possibly need. So for the first day, we had planned to see the pyramids and then also the Sphinx. And I wanted to go to the market to shop, and then I also wanted to eat at Kofu's restaurant that's like behind the gates of the pyramid. And I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but it's also on TikTok, so I knew that I would be able to like sit there, see the views of the pyramid, and eat my food, and that's what I wanted to do. So that was the plan for the day. Our tour guide was named Muhammad, and we got that recommendation from Jay. I'm not going to recommend him down below because there was a few things that I did not like that he did, which I'll talk about. But what I did do is link the activities that I did below, and we booked those through Viator, so you'll be able to just click on the link. But as far as the tour guide, you book those activities, you'll have a tour guide. So Muhammad and his team picked us up and took us up the street to the pyramids, literally like 10-minute drive. And we get up there to the pyramids, and he already has our money because we just paid him up front. He gets the tickets to the pyramid, and something that's important about going to see the pyramids is make sure that you have comfortable shoes on. Like, obviously we're girls, we want to take pretty pictures, so you know, we had the dresses on for the pictures, but make sure your shoes are comfortable because you're walking uphill on rocks and sand and dirt. It's not a vibe, so make sure you have comfortable shoes on. So we get to the top, and boom, we're at the pyramids. There's a lot of people around, and the pyramids are massive. There's no words to describe what you're going to see, but there's lots of people around. There's lots of people trying to sell things, and there's people trying to come up and take pictures too. So this is the reason why it's important to have a tour guide, because a tour guide can kind of keep those people back. The ones who are trying to sell you things, they can keep those people back. Muhammad was very good about making sure that he got our pictures that we wanted, you know, put us in all our different poses. You can go inside the pyramids if you want. You can pay extra and go inside the pyramids, but through my research I had already seen that going inside the pyramids was an uphill walk. Then you get all the way to the top and there's nothing in there. It's an empty room. So it wasn't worth it for me, but if you want to do it, you can do it. It was also September, so it was hot when I went. I didn't want to do that. So anyway, we did that, and then we went to go ride the camels. Now my daughter loves to ride animals. Me on the other hand, not a fan. So I'm on the camel, like scared to death. And this is my second time riding a camel, but I'm still scared. I don't know why people like to do these things. But we did get the cool pictures, and we had the cool experience, and the camels behaved themselves, so everything was fine. After that, we were supposed to go have lunch at Kofu's restaurant. I had already discussed these things with Muhammad. He had reached out to me through a WhatsApp, and so we kind of discussed what I wanted to do, what the plan was. He knew what I wanted to do, and he agreed to it. But the reservations for the restaurant were around 1 p.m. and we finished around 12. And so because we finished early, he tried to take us to the restaurant that he works with. Something you will realize is that a lot of the tour guides have particular restaurants and stores that they work with, so they bring their people there and then they get a kickback if you buy or eat there. I'm sure the restaurant that he was trying to take us to was good, but I wanted to go to this particular restaurant. I wanted to be able to eat and see the pyramids at the same time. He said that he couldn't wait to take us to the restaurant because he had other things to do. I don't know, which was annoying to me. But he took us back to the hotel, and he told us like, oh, you guys can just catch an Uber and go up to the restaurant when your reservations are due. Fine. We get back to the hotel, and there's a group of people. I'm talking about an entire family wanting to take pictures of us. So remember, when you go to Egypt, these people, they're gonna want to take pictures of you and take pictures with you, and you can easily tell them no. That's fine. But me and my daughter, we felt like celebrities, so we wasn't saying no. Like, we let them run up and take pictures. I'm talking about old men and old women, kids alike. Everybody wanted their picture. It was pretty funny. And even if you say no, just understand that they are probably somewhere on the sidelines taking the pictures anyway. So might as well be nice and have the experience of being a celebrity for a day. After that, we tried to catch a cab and go back up to the restaurant, and it was difficult. We had someone who was working at the hotel, communicate with the Uber driver and let them know what we were trying to do. In hindsight, we should have just used a driver from the hotel. I don't know what I was doing. Like, I literally don't even like to catch Ubers, but people were saying that using the Uber in Egypt was perfectly safe. Everybody knows how to use the Uber app, and so, you know, why not? I mean, it was right up the street. It wasn't like it was too much to ask or anything, so we tried to do it. But something you should know, the drivers don't speak English. The plates are not in English, so you don't know if it's your driver or not, and you can't communicate with them. Even while trying to use the app, it was still very hard to communicate. We got in the car. He took us up to the pyramids and dropped us off. That was fine, but the problem was we had already paid to get in the pyramids, and we needed to buy a ticket again to get in the pyramids, and I couldn't figure out how do we get in the pyramids and to the restaurant, because remember I told you have to walk up the hill to get to the pyramids, but then the restaurant sits kind of farther back, so that's a long walk in the hot heat. And they had these little small bugs that was biting the crap out of us. I mean, they were tiny and they were everywhere. I don't know what they were called, but they were horrible. So we're trying to figure this out, and nobody speaks English. I called the restaurant. I'm like, hey, we have these reservations, but we're down here at the gate. It's a lot of people here. How do we get to you? And she basically just told me like I needed to get back into the gate to be able to come up there. It was just too much. So unfortunately, we did not get to experience the restaurant. I was pretty sad about it. It was not what I wanted.
No, I'm still sad.
We called the Uber because we gave up. The bugs were biting us. The people, it was so many people around trying to sell us things, and it was just a lot. We were overwhelmed at this point. And so I called an Uber for us to go back to the hotel. But this time the Uber comes and the plates are not in English, so it's hard to know which car belongs to you. You don't want to just get into a random car. And the Uber driver is calling me like, where are you at? Where are you at? And we're standing here on the curb, but we don't know how to say where we are. It was very confusing. He eventually found us and we got into the car, but when he tried to get back to the Marriott Mena house, he couldn't figure out how to do it. And so we were just driving around. What should have been like a 10-minute drive was more like a 40-minute drive. I don't know. It was insane. I would not recommend you using an Uber in Egypt. If you are a woman traveling alone, don't do it. It's not worth it. So we get back to the hotel, and like I said before, they had 3 restaurants, and so we eat at the hotel, which was perfectly fine. Later on that night, we were going to do what is called a sunset ATV ride in the desert. That was around 5 p.m. They picked us up from the hotel. We went to pick our ATVs up, and y'all, we were literally on the ATVs driving through the streets of Egypt. We were driving through the streets of Egypt. Like, I'm talking about families is outside looking at us, little kids is outside looking at us, because we had to go through the streets of Egypt to get to the desert. So people are looking at us, and it just really humbled me and made me realize, like, we're out here, we're tourists, we're spending all this money, but people are poor, people are suffering, and they are just looking at us in their neighborhoods having a time of our life. So just be mindful of that. Be respectful of the culture. Yes, people are going to ask you to tip. That's how they make money. So if you're going to Egypt, people are going to ask you to tip. Be prepared for that. Make sure you just get plenty of ones so that you can tip, because you're going to need to tip your driver, your tour guide, like anybody that helps you. Somebody who tied the scarf around my head. Like, everybody needs a tip. And it's okay. I mean, it's $1 to you, but to them, that's how they eat. So just be respectful of the culture and be helpful where you can be helpful. We get through the neighborhood, and then we get to these gates where there's security guards literally guarding the desert, which is crazy. So our tour guide talked to that security guard, and they let us through, and we go through the desert, and we are doing all the jumps, tricks, and all the things that our tour guide is having us do. And my daughter is loving this, but the whole time I'm just thinking about the dude that I saw in Dubai who was doing all those tricks, and then his ATV turned over, and then the hot sand skinned him alive, and he was stuck in Dubai for months. Yeah, I'm dramatic, but that's what I was thinking about the entire time. I was struggling with it. Now again, I've struggled with the camel. Now I'm struggling with the ATV.
Okay, how can I help? I can take notes, get coffee, manage your calendar, walk your dog, carry your things, watch you sleep. Sorry, I can get ahead of myself. I'm anxiety. I'm one of Riley's new emotions, and we are just super jazzed to be here. Where can I put my stuff?
But we got these great pictures and videos, and you know, we had a time, and it's a time to remember for sure. And then, you know, it's time to relax because in the morning we are traveling to Luxor. We get up in the morning, we go to the airport to travel to Luxor. It is security on security on security. Our flights were fine. We travel with Egypt Air, and they are around 1 hour. So not bad at all. We get to Luxor and it is hot, y'all. It's hot. Luxor is hot, so be prepared for that. One thing about Egypt is you can wear what you want to wear. During my research, people were saying like you need to have your head covered, you need to have your shoulders covered, you need your knees covered, but you can wear what you want to wear. Obviously, if you're going into a mosque or anything like that, you need to respect the culture, but you can wear what you want to wear. Just be aware, like it's just like in America. So if you wear something that's exposing a lot of skin, people are going to look at you. Men might touch you. Like it's the exact same. So nobody reached out and touched us. Everybody was very respectful in Egypt, but in Luxor, that was the only place where we wore the shorts because it was so hot. So Smiley picked us up from the airport, and Smiley is the best. He is a tour guide that was recommended by Jade as well, but he is the best. He's a certified Egyptologist. He knows everything about Egypt, and our tour with him was wonderful. I would highly recommend him. 10 out of 10. I will link his Instagram down below. You could just reach out to him and he'll plan everything for you. Just tell him what you want to do. So he picked us up from the airport and he take us to our first activity, which is the Karnak Temple. I was so excited to go here. It's just beautiful. When I tell you it's beautiful, it's beautiful. Smiley was the best at getting these videos for us, and he got like the best pictures, and he had the most knowledge. He was able to talk to us about everything the entire time. So something I would suggest is like make sure that you research Egypt and you know about the pharaohs. You are invested, because when you're invested in the stories, you enjoy the trip a lot more. Otherwise, it's just like tour after tour after tour, and you don't really know the people, you don't know the story, and so it gets kind of boring and you get tired, and it's hot. But if you know the people, you know the stories, and you're invested in it, then it's just so much better. Something I would suggest to you is that you read this book, When Women Ruled the World. This book right here, I read this book before I went, obviously did other research, but this book was so good. I'll link it down below. I got it from Amazon. If you don't want to read it, you can also download the Libby app. That's free, and you can listen to the audiobook. There's an audiobook. After the Karnak Temple, Smiley took us back to our hotel and we stayed at the Hilton. We went back to the hotel and got some rest because the next day we went to the Valley of the Kings, and this day was so hot. One thing I will say, Smiley told us this, but who wants to get up early? Like, I didn't want to get up early, but you need to get up early. You need to get up early if you want to do these tours, because once it's hot, it's unbearable. We went to the Valley of the Kings. We went inside the tombs. I think we went into like 3 tombs. Inside of these tombs, the paint looked like it had been painted yesterday. Do not bring flash photography. Do not bring a big bulky camera. Just bring your phone. It will charge you extra to have a big bulky camera, and then it says no flash photography in there. So I capture all these beautiful images on my phone inside the tombs. And then the place that I really wanted to go was to go see Queen Hatshepsut. I hope I said that right. I wanted to see her temple, and I learned about her in this book as well. And so we got to the temple and it was beautiful, but the problem is it was so hot. I literally only got to like the 2nd level. I didn't even get to go all the way to the top because I couldn't take it. We had to turn around. And I could tell Smiley was so disappointed because he had so much information to teach us and so much to show us, but we just could not take the heat. It was horrible. So we had to turn around and go get back in the car, and then he took us back to the hotel. After that, we went to another restaurant at the hotel and got some rest by the pool, which we needed. Because at 4 a.m. we had our balloon ride scheduled, and I was excited for this balloon ride. This was my first balloon ride, and yeah, it was a vibe. But they picked us up at 4 a.m. 4 a.m. when I just told you I don't like to get up early. The hotel makes this little box breakfast for you to take on your excursion. The driver took us to the next spot. The next spot was a body of water. So we had to get on a boat, go across a river, a lake, I don't know. We had to get on a boat, go across a body of water, get to another side, get into another van, then drive into the middle of the desert where there's literally nothing. It was so crazy. Like, I looked up and I'm like, I don't know if this is safe. But it's 4 in the morning, it's still kind of dark, and there's a bunch of people around that's working to get the hot air balloons up, because there's several hot air balloons and there's several groups of people who are getting on these balloons. So there's a lot of people out in this open field. We get on the hot air balloon and this was amazing. I was on it with my daughter and my friend and her daughter, and it was amazing. And you guys, if you choose to book this, just know, like, it is worth it. You do have to get up before in the morning, but it is worth it. Smiley set all this up for us, which was perfect. We get back to our hotel and it's like 9:30, so at this point it's breakfast time, and we do the floating breakfast. Our hotel has this floating breakfast in the spa, and so we put our swimsuits on, we go to our floating breakfast and we take pictures. We are out here on the Nile River. I mean, this is just amazing. I really enjoyed Luxor. Thanks to Smiley, all of our stuff worked out exactly how it was supposed to work out. But just remember, this is a trip of a lifetime. Most people want to do this trip and they will never be able to do this trip. So if things are not working out the way that you planned it, some things don't go the way that you saw them going, that's okay. Just take a deep breath, take it all in, and still enjoy it, because you are doing something that most people will never get to do. But as far as Luxor, everything worked out perfectly and exactly how it was planned. And I did discuss my plans with Smiley on WhatsApp before we got there, and so he knew exactly what I wanted. After the floating breakfast, we just did some pool time, relaxed by the Red Sea, and then got ready for the next day, because the next day we were flying out to Hurghada. I love Hurghada. Hurghada is so beautiful. It is a resort town in Egypt, and it like caters to everything that you feel like you want, like luxury wise. It literally kind of reminded me of like Mexico, because the way it was set up, like our resort was all-inclusive resort, and then like the service, just everything that you would expect. It's something that you would already have experienced if you've traveled to Mexico. So we go to the airport getting ready to go to Hurghada, and this is the place where we experience travel delay. So you go through security after security through the Luxor airport, and then we get through the gate and our flight has been delayed, and it was delayed twice, y'all. So our entire day that we had planned to like get to Hurghada, hang out at the resort, canceled because our flight was delayed twice. And then another thing about these smaller airports in Luxor and Hurghada, you can't get there like 3 hours early for your flight. Like, they don't let you into your gate until like right before your flight. So that's something else to think about too when traveling with the airport. But our flight was fine. We used Cairo Air and the plane was fine. We get to Hurghada, and this is where we had one of those bad experiences. I always book a private driver. I always do that. But because everybody said it was okay to use Uber in Egypt, I went with that. Always follow your first mind, y'all. Always follow your first mind. Book a private driver. You can go right on Viator and book you a private driver, or call your hotel. Like, your hotel has transportation. Yes, it's more expensive, but it's just worth it safety wise. All of the hotels that we stayed at offered airport transportation for extra. So we get through the airport and we call the Uber. The Uber driver pulls up. Now, this airport is not very busy, but the Uber driver pulls up and it's him, but I'm asking him to show me, you know, his phone so I can see that it's me. And he did. And then we get into the car, and the first thing that he does is turn off the app.
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man.
And he's like, oh, I'm turning the app off. Like, I want you to pay cash. And I'm like, oh no, like, oh no. That app has to be on. Like, I'm not getting in this car with you and going nowhere with that app off. And so he's like, no, just give me cash. Just give me cash. You know, he's trying to talk fast, like, just give me cash. So I'm like freaking out at this point, because you got me and my kid in this car. So, you know, me and my daughter are like, no, open these doors. Open these doors, unlock these doors, let us out. You know, because he had locked the door. It was just a scary experience for us. He had locked the door. So anyway, it was all four of us in there at this point, and we're about to attack him, and he realizes that, so he unlocks the door to let us out. And he literally could have drove off with our luggage, but he didn't. He let us get our luggage out the car, and I was just so mad. Like, I contacted Uber, and I'm like, he is not safe, and y'all got this man on this app. Like, he is not safe. He literally turned the app off. But anyway, right when we got out the car, the cab drivers are located right across the street from the airport. They're like all in a line waiting on people to come out. And so this nice guy comes over to us and he's like, you want a taxi? And we're like, obviously yes. He just saw what went down, so he knew we needed a taxi and we were in distress. And he shows us like his Egypt taxi card, and then he has like this sticker on his taxi that shows he's a certified taxi driver for Egypt. And then, you know, he gets us to our resort. Now we're pulling up on our resort, and it's so pretty, it's so beautiful, and it's brand new. And we walk into our resort. First thing they do is give us warm towels for our hands. Like, if you know, you know. But it was just so nice. It smells so good. It looks so good. Like, it was my favorite resort by far. This resort was called the Steinberger Rasa Sama Resort. Probably destroyed that, but that's what it was called. I'll link it down below. It had 5 restaurants, 3 pools, several bars. It was massive and beautiful. We go into our rooms and we just kind of relax, because at this point we spend a lot of our day at the airport, so we just need to relax. The next day we have an excursion plan to Orange Bay Beach, and then we have a yacht, and so there's like food and drinks and music and everything that's planned. So for the excursion, they picked us up from the hotel, and again, our hotel created this little breakfast box for us so we wouldn't be hungry. And you know, we get to the yacht, and there's a few other people that's getting on the boat with us. The music is a vibe, the food is a vibe, the workers are a vibe. Like, everything is such a good time. It's such a nice party. Like, I do recommend you doing this. They had snorkeling, they had scuba diving, they had line dancing, they had massages on the deck. Like, it was everything. We pull up to Orange Bay Beach, and you can choose to stay on the boat, or you can get off the boat and go onto the beach. We went on the beach. On the beach, they had food and alcohol, and then they had all these things where you could take pictures. So we got a bunch of pictures. It was just such a good time, y'all. They took us back to our hotel, and we just ate dinner there and went to bed because we had to get ready to fly back to Cairo. What I didn't want to do is like wake up early in the morning, catch a flight to Cairo in order to catch our flight to America. I just felt like too many things could happen, like flights can be delayed, stuff can happen, and I just didn't want that to happen. So I wanted us to fly back to Cairo, stay at a hotel, and then get on our flight and go home. And so I chose this hotel that was actually connected to the Cairo airport. It's connected to the Cairo airport by a bridge, and it's called the Le Meridien Cairo Airport Hotel. And you would think that it wouldn't be fancy, you know, it's just the airport hotel, but it was super fancy. And we got there, we got our own little private butler. Like, he took us to our room, and he was like, I'm gonna be here for you, take you across the bridge, so when you guys are ready, just give me a call. We ordered room service and stayed in the bed because we was tired. Like, the traveling was a bit much. We were tired, and everybody was having diarrhea. So let me just tell you this. When you go to Egypt, you need to pack medication for diarrhea, because your stomach is not going to be ready to digest that food. Now, me at the time, I was pescatarian, so I didn't really eat a lot of the food. My diet really consisted of vegetables and fruit and not that much meat. So I didn't have diarrhea. I didn't have a problem. But everybody else in the group was sick, y'all. They was sick, running to the bathroom every 5 minutes. But we had medication, which helped slow the process down. But just make sure that you're prepared for that and you're ready for that, because that is going to happen. You're not going to be able to manage your digestive system after eating the food in Egypt. So we were tired. Everybody had diarrhea. We just stayed in the room and ordered room service, and that was that. Early in the morning, we called our our butler. He walked us across the bridge to the airport. He got us our tickets, got us through security, you know, watched us, made sure we were safe, and then we were off. We were ready to fly back home. Again, we did tip him, and make sure that you tip anybody who is helping you, because this is how they make their living. We got on our flights, we got back home. We had to fly through Chicago again and get back to St. Louis, and that was it, guys. That was our trip. Thank you so much for watching to the end. This is my itinerary. This consists of all the things that I did. Go ahead and screenshot it or write down the activities that you're interested in. And like I said before, I've linked all these activities and hotels down below so you can book directly from the link. I'm here to help y'all. I'm trying to motivate y'all and get y'all to travel to Egypt, because I promise you this is something you will not regret. This is a trip of a lifetime and you will not regret it. Please leave a comment. Let me know when you are going to Egypt, who you're going with. Ask me any questions that you have about traveling to Egypt. Something that people did ask me is like, do you need extra vaccines? And no, you don't. Like, we didn't have to get any extra vaccines. The vaccines that you have for America is fine. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, y'all, and subscribe to this channel. I want to build this travel community. And if you want to know the cost breakdown of Egypt, please click on the next video. I'm going to be covering how much everything costs. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.
Baby girl, you are so pretty, 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 pretty.